The program allowing the NSA to collect in-depth phone records of Americans was shuttered November 28th, all because of this man, former NSA contractor Edward Snowden. He, you may remember, released highly classified information about the NSA surveillance program during my next guest's tenure as the director of the National Security Agency. Outrage followed, and then the program was shut down. But the end of the NSA's program also comes at a critical moment in the fight against ISIS, as agents of terror have taken to the web and communicated by cell phone to recruit and radicalize new members. Let us bring in a Fox Business exclusive, former NSA director, former head of U.S. Cyber Command, and retired four-star Army General Keith Alexander. Welcome, General. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Liz. Welcome.
General, this just struck me, and I thought, let me start with this. How valuable would the NSA metadata program, as it's been known, would it have been either before or just after the San Bernardino shooting to track down and pinpoint not only the killers, but their possible cohorts?
So I think the program was more important for what happened after, to see if there are others in the country that are affiliated with this group. As you may recall, Liz, that program was actually to look at those outside the United States communicating with people inside the United States. In that regard, probably not a lot of value to start, but if there were other entities in the United States that were talking to this group that were going to conduct Mumbai-style attacks, it would have been critical for it.
But we don't have it. Do we need to get it back, General?
Well, I think that's one of the things that we should look at in some form. Now, supposedly, the service providers are supposed to give us that, and I think they're working their way through. I think what the Presidential Review Group came up with actually is a good staging point for our country. But what you bring up, Liz, is a hugely important issue. How do we approach countering terrorism at a strategic level, of which this is one piece of it? What are the intelligence authorities we have? I think we have to put all of that together and have a debate within our country of what we can and can't do. Law enforcement, intelligence agencies, gun control, and the rest. What's our strategic approach to countering terrorism? With this program, I do think we should bring parts of it back. I think we should have outsiders like Jeffrey Stone and others look at it every year to make sure that what NSA and law enforcement are doing is exactly right.
Well, you know, you talk about somebody as yourself, who's fought on both real battlefields and on pixelated battlefields, working at the NSA and looking at all of the cyber terror that is going on. We had asked our viewers, who now have we ceded the power to go after ISIS to? Is it the Mark Zuckerbergs of Facebook and the Jack Dorseys of Twitter, because we know ISIS is using these social media things? Is it Tim Cook with Apple because of the phones, or is it President Obama? Who holds the keys now to going after these guys?
So that's a great point, because technology is moving at a great pace. What the technology companies can do in encrypting data would make it very hard for law enforcement and intelligence community to get after it. I think what everybody is calling for is a discussion between the technology companies and our government on what can and should we do. And you know, Liz, I think this is something that should be not only a U.S. but an international approach. It's got to be.
Do we leave it up to Anonymous, the hacker group? They are in just a few days going to do a whole day of let's attack ISIS through the web and through all of these social media sites. I mean, who ever thought that we would be linking with Anonymous to get these guys? But maybe they have more power, and that's a sad state of affairs, is it not?
Well, it is in that one statement, but note that attacking ISIS just on the web is not going to be sufficient. We've got to attack it across all these fronts. What's it take to defeat ISIS? And, you know, it's more than attacking on the web. It's the physical attack. It's shutting them down. It's multiple countries working together. I do think we have to look at allowing terrorist groups like ISIS to use the internet for recruitment, for social media. We ought to look at that. And so I think in that regard, getting the tech community together with our government is the only way we can handle it. You know, we're allowing them to recruit folks, to radicalize folks, using our internet capabilities that we develop. We ought to work that together.
General, you're a four-star general, and we're talking about the web, and we're talking about phones. Should we have boots on the ground too?
Well, that's I think so, yes. To be candid, we've got to have some, and I think they are looking at what you can put on the ground. But before you put boots on the ground, I think I would step back and say, what's the strategy to solve the terrorism problem?
Right.
And, you know, and that talks about things like security, stability, economic development in the Middle East, so that these people have something greater than jihad to go for. I'm concerned, think about Egypt, 25% unemployed.
Yeah.
What do they have to look forward to? And so we are right now not going at the roots of terrorism. We need a strategic plan. And
Okay.
I think the tactical part that you bring up, boots on the ground, yes, we should do that, but that should be embedded in this comprehensive strategy.
General Keith Alexander, former National Security Agency Director, joining us in a Fox Business exclusive. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Liz.
He also runs IronNet Cybersecurity. It's the guy to go to for that.